happy to be here. We are Alessandro,
Marco.
so we are the core researcher of DFOHub. DFOHub is an R&D project that is aimed to create something that we call on-chain companies. To understand why we are working on it, I think we have to figure it out how dApps and DAOs work today. Basically, if you run a dApp, people can use it anonymously on Ethereum, but the team have the ownership of the code, and the team have the ability to use fork it and to do basically everything they want. The same things is for DAOs. Basically, DAOs are like a fixed box in which teams have made the code, and people can interact inside this box with some kind of small and fixed way to vote things, and even sometimes they vote for not to run code, but to ask the team to do something. And the team have all of the power to change the code to improve that. Our R&D is basically to delete the needs of a well-known team of people behind a dApp or a DAO. This new kind of on-chain companies we call Decentralized Flexible Organisations. And so basically the team has the only power to deploy. After that the organization is deployed, everything is about to vote with the token. And that's why we call it programmable equities. So the token rules everything, from every part of the application with the core and the assets. So it's very more like an equity, like a new asset class. And with DFO, you can build dApps and DAO on top of it. So this is not to replace the DAO technology or the dApp technology, but it's to replace the team behind the application. I think it's the long run. This is a very interesting R&D for Ethereum. So in Ethereum, we experienced some kind of utility tokens, and we have voting tokens like DAOs, so to vote some kind of things, but not have the full power of the applications. And with DFO, we have a new asset class. It's called programmable equities. You can vote with full power inside an application. And so, for example, DFOHub is a DFO, so if we lost all of our token, we don't have any power. And that's why this kind of new tokens is very different from everything we experienced before.
We think the best way to have the correct flexibility decentralized application needs is to use the concept of the microservices. In DFO protocol, every functionality of the decentralized organization is a singular smart contract, and all the functionality inside these smart contracts cooperate between them to obtain the main purpose of the organization itself. Every token holder of the organization vote to run every piece of code, and they can vote to propose new pieces of code, new microservices, or disable or change the microservices themselves. All this stuff runs directly on chain with no abstraction. The anonymous people can propose to improve the single organization or more. The architecture is made by a system called double proxy. The first one keeps track on all the microservices that can read or write into the dApp. The second one makes more easy to reach the first one proxy in an ultra-dynamic approach. Every part of the system is totally upgradable by voting, so the token holders can vote anything, and they are the only rulers in all the dApp, even in the core changes. There are two types of functionalities: persistent, which are linked to the dApp and they can be used in the time, or one time, that can be used just one time, of course, by voting, and then stops their execution. Governance rules are microservices too, and they can be voted, changed, and upgraded in time. This is a general purpose protocol, which means that everyone can create their own version of DFOHub or a DFO. Exactly like ENS or Uniswap do. We are working on all the pieces needed to achieve the startup without founders. To do this, they must know what the microservices does And for this reason, we choose to create a side protocol which saves directly on-chain all the source code of the smart contracts. So everyone can see them and evaluate to vote for accept or refuse them.
This is why we are working on something we call new Ethereum order. Because we started this R&D because we strongly believe that it makes sense that Anons will rule Ethereum in the future. Because, for example, as Vitalik said in the last DevCon, blockchains are cryptoeconomics protocol to make no assumptions about participants. The only way to prevent corporate capture in the Web3 is to govern services in a decentralized and multi-jurisdictional basis. And anonymity is the most important thing to achieve that. So at the current state of DFOHub, you can already start with a lot of features to build companies ruled by Anons, like for example, proposal and voting systems with on-chain code, like IDOs with fixed inflation and liquidity staking rewards. So the next things we are working on is to build a decentralized GitHub, a decentralized managing for tasks and for rewards about tasks, and at the same time for IBOs, so initial boosting offerings, so you can invest in a project by investing directly to boost their tasks reward. The governance abstraction, that is basically the idea that that DFOs can have different tokens and different way to govern themselves, and at the same time they can create sub-DAOs with a small possible governance, fixed governance obviously, and an automatic generation for dApps frontend. And I think that there is some cool R&D there in our community. So this is basically what we're working on. And we worked for the long run, and we started to go in mainnet 6 months ago. And we achieved a lot of R&D for this time, I think. And so in September/October, we will release all of the documentation needed to start working on together with improvement proposal and this kind of stuff. And I don't know, you can reach everything in DFOHub.com and in our Discord. And so, hope to see you there. I think this R&D is very, very important for the long run on the Ethereum and to achieve what really Ethereum can do, because it can do more that we are experiencing today. Not just replace old companies to trust new companies, but to achieve a new internet without need companies or things behind, or trust basically. Thank you.
Thank you.
In memory of Mario Tornini, the best 4chan